Um, I'm surprised actually that people are interested in Abhidharma, and that's my first word. Because I thought, if we're going to conduct an Abhidharma class, we might have less students. But I'm not sure that how many of you can stay afterwards. Okay, even in the first class, we have I counted all, with 32 people here now. It's exceptionally good, okay? And I hope that people are getting more and more anyways. All right, this is actually, even is my first time, basically, to give this Abhidharma talk in English. Yeah, I did 10 years ago, when I was in Taiwan, in the Yuanguan 研究所, I mean the research, what to call this graduate school in the Yuanguan. So, I also taught the comparative between comparative Abhidharma. That's Abhidharma between this Pali Abhidharma system and as well as the Sarvastivada Abhidharma. And I have to say first something about Abhidharma, like when I be a monk, and after some time since I came to know there's something called Abhidharma, which I never knew before, okay? Because one big reason is because we all know that there are three Pitaka, right? There are the texts about the Sutta Pitaka, and then we have this Vinaya Pitaka, and then as well as the, we usually call as a treatise or Sastra Pitaka. So, or normally mean the, the Sanjan Tripitaka. So try to remember several words. When you learn English, if you learn English Buddhism in English, there were several terminology you had to learn by heart, like the word Tipitaka, okay? Or Tripitaka or Tipitaka. Tipitaka is a Pali word, but Tripitaka is a Sanskrit word, like mean three baskets, just a Sanjan. And then we know the Sanjan comprises of the Sutra Pitaka, and that's also another word you need to learn by heart, like Sutra is a Sanskrit word too, right? Sutra, and the Pitaka, okay? And that means, the Jinzan, and then you have this so-called the Vinaya Pitaka, right? So those are the terms you have to learn by heart if you're learning really like Buddhism in English, okay? Because some people, they don't write translation because it's very hard to translate, and they don't want to, mix up the term with really what Buddhists understand. And then you have this word, now in Chinese it's usually called Lunzhan, but we call Abhidharma Tipitaka. Abhidharma Pitaka. This is actually a very common knowledge if you will study Buddhism in any tradition, but not Chinese. Because the Chinese, I think I mentioned earlier time when we study, usually Chinese translate this Abhidharma Pitaka as a Lunzhan. Well, that has something to do with it's nothing wrong to translate as a Lunzhan, but the problem with the Chinese people understanding it, okay. Because usually in Chinese, when you say the Lun, they would take it like commentary, okay, or maybe something like a treatise, if it translate. But actually, the word Runzhan originally, of course, then, and also China later on, they have due to a certain school, like even I never really look at how Tendai school defined it. At least I haven't come across that, and I cannot tell you for sure. But I just want to say, in general, people, when they take the Runzhan, for example, they will take all these like Mahayana Shastra, like Mahayana literature as a Runzhan. For example, even Dazhidulan, right? The famous one, Dazhidulan, like this in Sanskrit, usually we call that as Prajnaparamita Upadesha, okay? Dazhidulan. It's called the Greek knowledge, or Greek wisdom, the literature of the Greek wisdom. It's very, very, very famous in Mahayana, and especially it's very, very influential to the Chinese Buddhism, okay? In other words, if you want to really learn Chinese Buddhism, say I'm good at Chinese Buddhism, but you don't really have read, if you haven't really read this called the Greek Wisdom Treatise, you miss a lot of point. Because everybody try to define what they understand from that treatise or that literature. But anyway, well, back to our subject, So usually when you say the three Pitaka, we know that it's the Sutra Pitaka, Vinaya Pitaka, and Abhidharma Pitaka. But the Runzhan in Chinese, because this is Jinzhan, Luzhan, I think everybody is very clear to know what it is. But when you say this Abhidharma Pitaka, since the Chinese, of course, I mean, unless you really learn the foreign language, I mean, like foreign language means not Chinese, but otherwise they say the Runzhan, they might have a lot of mix up with that, okay? And also, perhaps, my understanding, but I'm not sure about, as I say, I never really read it anymore, that perhaps even the older master, I mean, in the last few centuries, might be they even include Runzhan as anything is related to the commentary, they call that, or related to the literature or commentary as a Runzhan. But it wasn't really the tradition in the early Buddhism, okay? I mean, even in Tibetan, they know. When you say this, the Tipitaka mean Abhidharma, even Tibetan tradition, or same as the Pali tradition, they knew it's Abhidharma, okay? Everybody know. Why we have to introduce this? Because before we study Abhidharma literature, we have to also understand firstly what is meant by Abhidharma, okay? Okay, you don't have any question about this. So in other words, mean we are going to learn something out of the three canons. We are going to learn the essence or the one of the important Pitaka called the Abhidharma Pitaka, okay? Then, no any question, right? Yes. I know, it's fine. If you need it, you can take it later.
Can I give you? I have a question.
Yes.
So how many different types of, you mentioned that there's the Pali Abhidharma, so how many different versions of Abhidharma are there?
No, there are differences, I guess. We will mention that later. Okay. But now our study, nowadays, if you want to learn Abhidharma, of course, say nowadays what we know is generally there are only two traditions basically are still paying very much attention to Abhidharma. I mean, it's almost like if you want to be a good scholar, or of course when they say scholar here, please don't take it literally means they just only study, they don't practice, you know. Everybody who study Buddhism, they say they practice. Of course, what do they mean by cultivation or practice might be different, okay? But anyway, nobody will say, I don't practice Buddhism, okay? So that's another thing. But I think we might come to discuss that later. Now, the thing I want to say is that mostly when we study Abhidharma Pitaka, and like, you know, you study Sutra Pitaka, you might be, as a Mahayana, you read certain sutra, right? Or as or the Tibetan Buddhism, you might be read a certain sutra in Tibetan, like the most famous, like Samadhi Raja Sutra, right? It's a sutra about how you have the samadhi, how you have the concentration in Tibetan tradition, especially in Tibetan tradition is just particularly in a particular school like Dhammadipa school, for example, they have a different emphasis on sutra. They say that. But then you also know that in Gelug school, in Tibetans, for example, the yellow school, what they call the yellow school, the Gelug school, and then they definitely emphasis on Abhidharma and a lot of literature. Okay, so like Namni Shermo, like Buddhi Dao Zhi Guan Lun, and all this literature, right? But then they also have to study Abhidharma. So, but they based on the text. We're going to talk later also that called Abhidharma Kosa, 就是中文说的句式论. So, but of course, China also in old day, you know, you have the different school, which is also highly paid a strong weight on studying Abhidharma. Say like San Lun Zhong, of course, is one of the school, and then Fa Xian Zhong certainly is one of the school, or that which is highly influenced by the Xianzhuan Fa Shi, you know, the one who went to the India, and you know was the latest, I would say, the greatest translator, Xianzhuan Fa Shi. So anyway, so yeah, in China, but then later on, it become like something very how to say foreign to a lot of people, even in China later on. But of course, still in Pali, you do have a very strong tradition still study Abhidharma. Okay, but then since we are not here to discuss about the Pali Abhidharma, but maybe sometime I may relate something if in case people are interested. But we will try to focus on the Abhidharma 你可以关小声一点哈。So we can try to focus on the Abhidharma on this Chinese, only in Chinese basically. And this is a rare case, I want to say few reasons. One reason, firstly, we are not going to teach Abhidharma based on maybe in Tibetan they are also familiar with from the text called Abhidharma Kosa, right? Remember the term Abhidharma Kosa. We are going to talk also always Abhidharma Kosa, okay? And you don't remember anything. There's no the word Abhidharma. I'm sure everybody now get familiar now, right? Hello. I don't need it. I didn't translate the word Abhidharma, but the Kosa, just remember there's something like Abhidharma Kosa. Okay, it's very unique sound. So that means in Chinese called 俱舍论. So in China, of course, it's also one of the famous texts. And then even in Tibetan also, if you really want to study Abhidharma, that's the text you begin with. You know. Now this time we are going to choose to read another text because I think not only because the text was written in the 5th century, but I think it also have a very good introductory, basically actually to learn, and it's you can straight away to learn without have so much. I mean almost like without so much. Like sectarian ideas, because in Abhidharma Kosa, so if you start to learn that, you have to think about, oh, that school say this school say that school say this, that school say this, and he disagree with this school and then he disagree with that school, and then you might be kind of like, you know, started to get like lost the way, okay? So we just firstly straight away immediately just learn what is the content of the Abhidharma, particularly the Abhidharma in called the Sarvastivada school. Okay. Now that's introductory, and I guess this might be the first time in America also we are going to have a class to discuss a text called Abhidharmavatara, okay? And also maybe, yes, I knew that actually in the Tibetan center, in the West, not in the West, in certain area, in old days they will have such very few of very famous Tibetan monks. Actually they also teach the Abhidharma Kosa. But not that, I don't think they finish whole text, but they do also teach several passages in Abhidharma Kosa too. So in other words, not many people really teach this system of Abhidharma. Yes, even also not many monks actually teach in Abhidharma, even in Pali system. However, comparatively, there are many more monks or people who know Pali system than the system, okay? Because this system need to be revived, many things. In other words, it's almost like died out for a long time, especially for practical reason. Only very recently, I think people, luckily actually, we have several people who did the job in this last century. The French people actually won. That was the reason why I did French in the past, you know. And people ask me, why you learn French? I say I want to read texts. Because the French people had translated several Abhidharma texts. And of course, even including the Dazidulun, the Greek, what we call this Greek wisdom, the treatise of the Greek wisdom into French. Even though then, when he did the translation, he didn't finish the whole things and he passed away. But still, it's a very, very rich resource there. I think nobody can done better than them. You know, they have really take a long time to do the research on a certain Chinese text, and they translate it into French. Okay. And then even the Chen Ye Lun, or if people who know Chinese text called Chen Ye Lun, one of the treatises called like a what called Siddhi Karma, that means anyway, Chen Ye Lun is I don't know how to translate in English. No, Chen Ye Lun. That's another. Chen Shu Lun is another. Chen Shu Lun is Satya Siddhi Sastra. 还有一个叫陈业论. Okay. Anyway. So, and then they also all translated into French as well in a very early time, during the something like 1960 something, you know, when the days I was born, something like that, you know. So they started to do a translation, maybe preparing for my celebrating my birthday. I'm joking. So, okay, I just put a notes there, and I also think I need to take this opportunity when I'm teaching this. Of course, I have several ideas. And one idea is might be good for me. I just started to prepare the thing, the Abhidharma, and if maybe one day we can publish, you know, the book too. You know, that's why I like to put my notes here, writing as a living Abhidharma, because I actually in Pali also you have called living Abhidharma too, but that was in the Pali tradition. But I think, of course, this is now just as a note, but in the future I thought to write something that people can learn this school. From this school, of course, I'm going to get more information, not only from this Abhidharmavatara, the text we're going to read, but I think that will be, going to gather all the Abhidharmas in this system so that the people will manage to understand this system. Now, let's look at the paper I just gave it to you, right? Everyone have the paper, right, called the Living Abhidharma, right? Unfortunately, on the online one, I know we're supposed to send you the PDF, but the guy forget to bring the flash pen. We're supposed to give you the flash pen, and we have a subtract pen, and he said he forgot to bring it. So it's not my fault, okay? So otherwise, it should have just sent it to you right now. Yeah. No. The Chinese one is different. No. Please don't ask a question anymore. The Chinese one is a different one because I don't have time to translate all these things. So I may just go through it. Okay. But if the Chinese one, I can pass it to you later. Okay. If you need it, so let us know if you even want the Chinese one. But I hope that somebody will translate it. But anyway, let's look at this note first. Now, and also later I'm going to give you all the books like what I call these reference books too, but I don't think this is the first class. Firstly, I don't think you use it. And I still gathering the notes because I usually hello? Any question? I say that don't forget the Chinese one because I haven't talked about the Chinese one. Yes? Huh? Do you have extra copy or no? We copy only 25. So it's not enough. So can somebody just share with them? At least we can give you the PDF file, when you just write. And just, can you maybe share together because behind there they don't have the notes. Hello? Can two people to share? Yeah.
Living Abhidharma?
Yeah, Living Abhidharma. It's okay? Okay. Now, actually, firstly, what is Sarvastivada Abhidharma? Actually, I should say, what is Abhidharma? Okay. I think basically when we talk about what is Sarvastivada Abhidharma, I think the main thing is that firstly, we must understand when we study this Abhidharmas belong to the school called Sarvastivada. Okay. We haven't, but forget about that first. You know there's a word called Sarvastivada. You don't know what it is, but you know there's Abhidharma, right? You know what is Abhidharma. Abhidharma is actually like when you say we read this sutra, we read that sutra, we read this sutra, or do 这本经, or do 那本经. That means we know that that's related to the sutra canon, right? The sutra pitaka. Now we are learning something belong to the Abhidharma canon, okay? Belong to the Abhidharma basket. But then there's a school called Sarvastivada. So now you maybe can only think there's a school called Sarvastivada school and then another school called like a Pali school. They have a different Abhidharma, okay? They have different Abhidharma, okay? Also don't think too much now. You ask question, why they have different? Why this? Don't. Just learn something first. Yes?
Can we say that the phrase Pali Abhidharma is Pali in this case being synonymous with Theravada?
No, yeah, you can say, I like to say Pali, I like to say Pali Abhidharma because the term Theravada is also controversial sometimes, yeah. And, there's a book actually, recently published about when the Theravada terms come to the Buddhism, for example. But anyways, when I say controversial, it's nothing wrong. But I like to say Pali because in terms of the language also. For example, like the Chinese, when we say Sarvastivada Abhidharma, you might be found this text in Tibetan, but you might found those Sarvastivada Abhidharma in Chinese. But even Tibetan have very limit, but mostly still preserved in Chinese. Okay, still preserved in Chinese. I think maybe that's easier. But of course, among the Chinese Abhidharma, we also have some other school Abhidharma, like Mahisasaka Abhidharma, Vasiputriya Abhidharma, you know. And that's why actually if you study Abhidharma, if you don't know Chinese, until they've been translated, it's really a big miss because they really have a lot, I mean, anyway, earlier time China had translated most of the Abhidharma texts into the language, right? Okay, so I like to say Pali Abhidharma rather than the Theravada Abhidharma, okay? That's just, might be easier because all Pali agree they have a same system Abhidharma, yeah, okay. Okay, right. Firstly, I think that in the passage what I write here, and also we also knows that actually Abhidharma is enormously influenced the period of Mahayana Buddhism also. So in other words, if you're really a good scholar, and even for a practice reason, not only just scholar, for practice, if you really learn Abhidharma, it helps you really understand lots of things, you know. So because it's because of the arising of the Abhidharma, and the Mahayana also either they agree, like Madhyamika school, Madhyamaka school means Zhonglun, school would disagree actually many points of the Abhidharma. So that's also, but then you start to understand why they disagree, you know. And otherwise you don't know what they disagree with, what, you know, they disagree with what, you know. And of course then Yogacara is especially very interested in the Wei Shi, so the Yogacara school, there's Yiqie Pai. So and then definitely you have to learn Abhidharma of the Sarvastivada. Just let me write the Madhyamika first, but those are the terms also you have to learn again, I'm sorry. You should write the notes there, right? Madhyamaka, Yogacara, so I don't have to translate this in the future. But of course, if you don't understand the term, raise your hand, okay? I can say that in Chinese, but in English, no way. You have to learn Yogacara, okay? Okay. You can go back and read a little bit the passage, but then if you look at the same page 1 on the 4th paragraph, okay, maybe it's good that when we relate Sarvastivada, we are referring to school Abhidharma also. Okay, that's very important because almost like, you know the word Sarvastivada now, right? Hello? Yeah. You know the word. Anyway, you just know there's a school called Sarvastivada. We're going to describe that later. Or in Chinese, just the whole thing is 说一阙有部, but we just only write 有部. That's okay. Easier. 有部. Okay. 说一阙有部. Okay. 说一切有部. Okay. But sometimes we just say 有部, 有部. Okay. So that means you know, the word is from Sarava, Asti, you know, Sarava means everything. Asti means exist. Vada means a school or any kind of thought or any philosophy or any method of philosophy. So the philosophy of the everything exists, okay. So we are going to discuss that also later, okay. So, I mean, maybe easier. Usually, when we say Sarvastivada, how we understand the school that's called Sarvastivada? Because of Abhidharma. Okay, that's called because of Abhidharma. When you say Sarvastivada, so you know that it has to do with Abhidharma. Okay, you cannot say, oh, that's at least now in a scholarly study, we haven't really have this kind of system. Say there's a Sarvastivada Sutra. No. Yeah. It's true that we have certain agama, you know, the Nikaya, early Buddhist text, belong to Sarvastivada. But still, we haven't really have this kind of concept. Because what the information we have nowadays, it's all about, when you say Sarvastivada, we are related to the Sarvastivada Abhidharma. Okay? Okay, that's maybe easier to understand. And then what is Abhidharma? Maybe firstly understand Abhidharma is like an encyclopedia of Buddhism. Because it collects everything. Okay, and it pulls together the Dharma factors or items the Buddha gave in many different sutras and discourses and present them in a systematical way. Okay, that's what Abhidharma is. If there's an examination, ask you, but this you should have at least put it. Okay, so if there's exam, what is Abhidharma? You remember, you have to say, if people ask you, what is Abhidharma? Why there's Abhidharma Pitaka? what is this Abhidhamma Pitaka? So you can just say, the Abhidhamma, the Pitaka means the basket, if the collection of the Abhidhamma, right? And what is Abhidhamma in terms of literature? You say Abhidhamma is like the encyclopedia of Buddhism. And then also, what is the function of it? What does it actually do, when you say encyclopedia of the Buddhism? Because it pulls together, or it collected, all these Dharma factors and all the items. And then that the Buddha, now that's a question we're going to talk later, the Buddha gave in many different sutras. Buddha talked many things, many ideas, right? In different areas, in different places to different persons, right? So, and they collect all, okay? And all these sutras the Buddha given to, to in a different occasion or what. So, and present them in a systematical way. That's called Abhidhamma, okay? So, and it tries to give us a better understanding of what things are and why they are called by the names or terminologies they are given. In other words, it's also one of the bulky thing, what the people don't like, but actually there's a fact already, that when you learn Abhidhamma, you start to learn a lot of terminology, okay? Because when you want to arrange something in a systematical way, and you want to give some idea about what the practice is about, or might be some of the philosophical debate, because people are trying to ask you questions, you need to invent something, right? You need to invent a term in order to explain, explain the teachings or to explain the logic to them. So lots of the items, Dharma, what we call the items is Dharma, I mean the Fa, Fa Su, sometimes in Chinese we call, depends, it's translate. Sometimes we say the Dharma is mean Fa, right? And then sometimes we say that the items, we will say Fa Su, okay? So in Chinese, we collect these items, but then also sometimes we also have to invent some terminology in order to make the practice steps much more clearer. So up to this point, you can imagine when you study Abhidhamma, you're going to study lots of almost like the spice, right? So you want to cook this thing, you need to have this spice, that spice, this spice, that spice, this spice, that spice, and put it together, right? But in the sutra, actually, maybe just telling you, the Buddha went to a place and then somebody had the problem, or maybe his practice didn't go well, or whatever. So and then the Buddha say, you just lack of one spice. So if you put that thing inside, you'll be fine, right? So and then that actually been collected in the Abhidhamma. And the other times the Buddha say, if you want to practice this, you want to practice that, you need to have this, 4 things, right? But in other times the Buddha say you need to have these 5 things, one this and that. So all this, because why you have problem? Because you have those problems, this problem, that problem. So you need to put away those problems. So and then Abhidhamma collected also, So it's almost like you study Abhidhamma, firstly, you also like that, you start to learn, to recognize there's this kind of material, this material, that material, this material, what are they, And then later on you will learn how this kind of material you can put it together and it become what? Kind of like that. Or of course mostly because we practice Buddhism, practice for liberation, and certainly lots of time to talk, what you should do, and then how you should put this away, what you should add in, what you should put away, what you should add in, what you should put away, right? So it's almost like, because almost like you learn about washing a clothes, what kind of material, if you have this kind of stand there, and how you should put this stand away. And then sometimes just a simple wash is not enough. You need to have something more, and what kind of thing you need more. That's what your Abhidhamma is about. So to collect all these items. When the Buddha given the talk in any different situations, but now they try the best to collect it, the whole thing, and they arrange in a way. But of course, if you, for the sake of argument, you could say, there's always endless job to do that. But then, but that's anyway. We first study first, because after when you finish this book, you will find you start to become a very smart person. Because I hope that you're just only smart with your mouth, what I mean by that. Debate, and what. But you definitely become very smart because when you read the text, you definitely know, this text don't mention this, didn't mention that didn't mention this, right? But you're not saying that text is not right, but you understand they don't have these factors, but that also still work, and you start to make you to think why they don't have this, but they still work, right? So sometimes it's also actually is a reciprocal helping each other. When you study this Abhidharma, when you go back to read the sutta, you find, oh, that's a lot of, they still have the factors there. Every sutta you read is so included in Abhidharma, basically the factors. But maybe, you know, they don't have that much of items as mentioned in Abhidharma on it, you know what I'm saying. So that's things, that's why you become very smart. Now, later, there's something about we have to say, okay. So in other words, so in this paragraph I also mentioned, it provides a solid foundation for further study because most of the treatises often refer to concepts and phenomena that are covered most thoroughly in Abhidharma. So I believe that if you want to be really good in practice, and also if you want to always check, you know, whether do you have this problem and not problem, it's also kind of very good tool to remind you also. And then of course, if you study Sutra or study Vinaya, even the Pitaka, so it also helps you actually basically mean because the concept always anyway, in Abhidharma always mention different kind of concepts. So once you have this, when you're skilled in this, you can also easily to see. In other words, you can easily to see, oh, whether the Buddha really have this concept or not, whether the Buddha think in this way or Buddha does not think in that way. So, okay. What is the content, basically? Or other words is, maybe I like to say, when you study Abhidharma, I believe that once you know Abhidharma, it's much easier for you to learn anything about Buddhism. This is maybe the ultimate, I want to say that. So that's one thing I mentioned. Most importantly, it gives answer to such pressing questions. So what are the nature of body and mind? Of course, it's very important to talk in Abhidharma. How are we born? How do our mind works? You know, how does karma work? What are the conditioned reality and what causes suffering, right? And what kind of path structure we can follow enable us to be free ourselves from suffering. So then you, from this perspective, you certainly have a very collective and succinct, I mean, you know, the word succinct means a gist, very short way to understand the Dharma, actually. Now, normally, we must also understand, in tradition, when we say the Buddha teachings are divided into three baskets of Vinaya, like the Vinaya, Sutra, and Abhidharma, it is believed that the Buddha main disciples, Sariputra, Katyayaniputra, and other arahats collect the teachings and systematize the teachings the Buddha had given on many desperate, how do you pronounce the word? I don't know. Disparate occasion in many sutra and in Vinaya, all of them compiling and now called the 7 treatises of Abhidharma. Well, in other words, mean we study Abhidharma, we must also know, actually, later we're going to talk that Abhidharma, you can argue, people actually arguing that Abhidharma was not taught by the Buddha. So we don't want to study. And the Abhidharmika means the people who are good in Abhidharma and always try to protect the Abhidharma, they have their own discussion. We're going to read that later. So, I mean, that's also one thing. In old day, you know, we don't have, last time we have a discussion, like, you know, saying that nowadays we would say, oh, there's a certain text, Buddhist text, came earlier. A certain Buddhist text came later, right? So, and then, so this is what we call the historical, like a kind of historical way of called it textual critical, based on the historical understanding. Say, so that's why, because you know a text, some texts come earlier, some texts come late, and then you say, you know, because the text come late, they might not be the Buddha's teaching. But this is a very modern idea. When it's a modern, maybe this 100 years, because of you know, literature study. It's also certainly have much to do with the Christian study too. You know, when the, you know, later on the scholar in Christian study also have to find out which word is really the Jesus word, some which is not, right? So, and this kind of thing definitely influenced the study in Buddhism too. Now, this nowadays everybody will think that way. So, but if you talk about 1,000 years ago, nobody would think that way, right? If any text just came to you and written, or Ewan me Sudane kan samaya mean the Lushu or one, or that means that does have I heard once the Buddha was blah 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 in any place, right, and talk to any blah 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 and da 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 da, da, right? So then you think this is a real, right? But it's no more, unfortunately, especially when it's academic. When it's academic, it's not unfortunate, it's just the word changing. The academic, the way understanding is changing. So it's no more. It is all about, when the text came. Okay, the early text came about to us after the Buddha passed away. So after 100 years, at least we know that after the Buddha passed away, 3 months, lots of teaching were being collected by Arahants, right? And then we also know the story, how they've been collected by Arahants, generally because Kasyapa, one of his great disciples, presiding these kind of councils. And he asked the people who, and then the people would just relate their experience about what they learned from the Buddha. And then those things be entrusted to different person. One is entrusted to Ananda, the Vinaya was entrusted to the Upali, right? And then what about Abhidhamma? No mention, okay? So, because in old day, not like now you do a lot of research, you find certain texts came later, you might say it's not a Buddha teaching. But then even actually during the first century, you mean during just before actually Bible was really compiled. Basically mean the Christian just start, the first century. So this Abhidhammika, in other words, mean they have Abhidhamma already, for sure. But the Abhidhammika, so discuss that already. They already defend the position. People may accuse them, you are the one who pay attention on Abhidhamma, but Abhidhamma is not the Buddha taught. It's not taught by the Buddha. So they must defend the position, even during the first century. Actually, this kind of position, in those days, the way they defend, as I say, is not like nowadays, the modern way of defending, but they defend in a different way. Saying that, no, this Abhidhamma is worth to study, and it's the Buddha teachings, and it's the Buddha's word, and sometimes it's a Buddha teaching. And also, of course, they also say, it's also because the Abhidhamma was kept by whom? By Sariputta, Katyayana, Maukyanana, right? And Vasumitra, and all those famous, very powerful monks during the Buddha's time. So that's why you cannot say, since they kept by them, they arrange it and teach their students, so you cannot say that's not the Buddha teaching. So we're going to read that also later on. But basically, we must also learn, you might be facing this question when you learn Abhidhamma. The same in Sri Lanka, some of our teachers, or including monks, they hate it. The Abhidhamma is not the Buddha teaching, so they are not interested. Okay. And then of course on the other words, is, in a certain country like in Burma, every monk almost learning Abhidhamma. So it's very hard for them to think that so without learning Abhidhamma, you can know Dhamma. Okay, it's very different. Usually we have talk about the Pali tradition. Usually we have this kind of understanding. It's not true, but this is just a generalized thing. If you study in Sri Lanka, you certainly very much pay attention, very, very emphasis on importance of the sutra, okay, Pitaka. So, but actually you can see, even now it's true, whenever you see any Sri Lankan monk, sutra, 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 sutra. Even though they might write Abhidhamma, they learn Abhidhamma, but they never really thinking, okay, you just learn it, that's enough. You learn it enough. They would not like, go and further and further and further and further, all Abhidhamma. They are not very interested. They learn Abhidhamma, they know Abhidhamma, but they are not really like Burmese, always Abhidhamma, 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 all the time. Okay? It's different, it's very different. In Thailand, I think they much more talk about the Vinaya. So we always say that if you want to learn Sutra, go to Sri Lanka, learn Abhidhamma, go to Burma. You will learn one Vinaya, go to Thailand, okay? You must have 3 bodies, okay? like a Buddha, okay? You have 3 bodies. So anyways, but it's also true that according to Buddhism, you definitely have 3 bodies, the body of what? The body of a virtue, right? And the body of what? The concentration. and then the wisdom, right? So, and that's also a reason because of that, actually, sometimes Abhidharma try to conclude that. So the body of virtue mean you very well versed or very well comprehend of this the Vinaya, right? The discipline, and then the concentration, well versed and well comprehend of the sutra. Of course, this is not fair to the sutra, but that's how the Abhidharma say. But for the wisdom, so he had very well versed in Abhidharma. Okay, so this is Abhidharma position. Okay. Now, but anyway, we agree that all schools agree that we're going to go for next thing. The first page ones, I have the 7 texts I have mentioned. I just want to give you some guidance, because all Abhidharma texts, like in Pali, also you have 7 Abhidharma texts, and then in the Chinese also you have 7 Abhidharma texts. So I don't need to read that, but let's say just go through it. First one, like a Yana Prasthana, okay. Also, please to remember, usually if you study this, even you don't understand the Sanskrit, try to recognize a little bit. See, we are not a Greek scholar, but if you really want to be really expert, okay, try to remember. Yana Prasthana, in Chinese is called Fa Zhi Lun, okay, and it's written by the Padanda Katyana, okay. Katyana, I forgot to print an A. It's okay. So I want to say something like, let me see, page 2. Look at the page 2, okay? And the page 2, you will see that like number 4, okay? Like there's a text called Abhidharma Fa Yun Zu Lun, or in Chinese, but in Sanskrit it's Dharmaskanda of the Padanda Maugalyayana, okay? 就是 Maugalyayana, 就木建连哈。However, you see that I put all Sariputra. You know why? I just want to give you a little thing. Why sometimes say all? Because in Tibetan, they have a different record. According to the Tibetan version, they think that this text actually is composed by Sariputra. But according to the Chinese, or by Xianzhuang Fashi, but this text is composed by the Mujianlian, the Maugalyayana. Okay? So this is not our discussion here. I just want to say a certain text have a different idea who composed the text. Now, look at these 7 texts yourself. And when you look at these 7 texts yourself, you do find that none of the texts here mentioned, it was composed by the Buddha, okay? They all composed by the Greek master during the Buddha's time, okay? So this is also very clear actually to tell you Abhidharma is composed by who? Buddha. No. By his disciples. Yeah, and then they have like Sariputra, Maugalyayana, Mahakatyana, right? And Purana or Vasumitra, so or Mahakaustila, right? If you want to collect all this, they are the very famous the master actually during the Buddha's time. Okay, I don't have much information about Vasumitra, but I hope that in the future when I happen to find it more and see whether I can find more meaning. Okay, let's look at the word Abhidharma first. Okay, on the page 2. You know the word Abhidharma comes from the prefix Abhi, and then okay. Actually, the prefix Abhi have 2 prominent connotations. One is called supplementary doctrine, and then one is called special or superior doctrine. Okay. But then in Pali, usually they like to understand the word Abhidharma as the ultimate supreme doctrine. Okay. But that's a Pali tradition. They have a preference. They prefer to think Abhidharma as a supreme doctrine. So, however, I mean, according to especially from Japan, they have a wrong research on that. According to this understanding, if you really look at the earlier interpretation of the prefix Abhi, okay, so it should be mean pertaining to or facing or envision or envisaging, or I forgot to put ing, envisaging, envisage. Okay. That's the reason why in Chinese always Abhidharma translate as facing to the Dharma. or envisaging Dharma, 对法. This is a prefix, Abhi and Dharma. Okay. But we must remember in Pali, if you study the Pali one, so that's why to me it's very clear. When people say, what is Abhidharma, I mean the supreme doctrine, I know he's highly influenced by Pali tradition. But if you tell, anybody, even same as Tibetan, if you say Abhidharma means facing to the Dharma, then I know highly influenced either Tibetan or the Chinese. Okay, to me it's very clear, certainly very, very clear. They had become a tendency on that. But who is right, who's wrong? No right and wrong, because that term, prefix Abhi, can have so many meanings. But then people can use this and write a thesis, a paper, and which one and what and why and how, But anyway, I guess we know that, firstly, we must understand the earliest interpretation of prefix of Abhi are mostly adopted by the Sarvastivada. Okay, that means 对法 means facing to the Dharma. And the latter one are many used by the Pali Buddhism. Okay. Now let's look at one of the most powerful, most huge, most horrible. Sorry, horrible is the wrong term. Most bulky and voluminous, whatever. I mean, huge. I should bring that text. I did bring the text last time. That how they define this. For those who are no Chinese, it's your gift. Okay. Really, I have to say it's a gift, because if you don't understand anything about practice, you always can find Chinese. The Chinese people are crazy people in the past, I think. They collect everything they have, whatever they have. And they would really, like to study or what. And of course, they were supported by the kings in those days. And I think they're really crazy, because I just couldn't imagine nowadays people can do that, So anyway, there's one of the bulky texts we are going to use here. It's called, I always have to mention the text again, again, and again, and again, and again. It's my preference book, I said that already in the past. When always there's a question asked you, if one day, you'll be like, drown in the sea, and then, but you only can take one book, what kind of book you bring, Well, maybe people take iPad nowadays. But the problem is, I think you have no internet, so why not? I don't know. But I want to say that what kind of book you would take. I'm sure if a Christian, you say, I would take the Bible, right? And if you're a Muslim, you take the Quran. But in Buddhism, it's very hard. Right? Okay, maybe let me ask you a question. If there's a book you take, which book you would take from here? Okay, we'll come here later. What about you? Which book you're going to take? You skip again. Okay, right.
I don't know, but I would take the Dhammapada.
Dhammapada. Okay, right. You?
I would take the
Dhammapada and?
Middle length discourse.
Middle length discourse, and you?
Yeah, Abhidharma.
Abhidharma? Which one? There's so many also. This doesn't sound very, how to say, very sincere. You?
I want two.
No, just only one. No argument.
Diamond Sutra.
Diamond Sutra. And you?
Heart Sutra.
Heart Sutra. You don't have to take that. You can remember by that. And you? What about you? Skip. Okay. And then two skip. Okay. Then you?
Long discourses, long sutras.
Long discourses. Okay. Wow. You mean the long discourses? Okay. Good. Mark?
The path to purification.
The path of purification? Wow. Okay. Good. And you? Just say Chinese. If you don't know the term, I can translate. You just have to give me the money for translation later. So, what? Okay, Amitabha Sutra. And you? Whatever that's on your hand, right? Okay, fine. What if a Bible on your hand? Right? You don't know. Skip. And you? Lotus Sutra, right? Yes.
How about Diamond Sutra?
Yeah, two Diamond Sutra now. And good market. Heart Sutra, two Heart Sutra. Leon? Professor Leon?
No, I just take a translation.
You mean just take my translation? Sagaranda? Visuddhimagga. Okay, 2 power purification. And you? Diamond Sutra? 3 Diamond Sutra. Diamond Sutra? 4 Diamond Sutra. Wow. Okay, you? What sutra will take? This, the man, yeah. Path to Buddhahood. Oh, 成佛之道. Okay, right, okay. And you? Which one? No, there's no Sibeta. You can bring. Without computer, you can read just a book. Zhonglun or the Madhyamika Karika. Okay, Zhonglun Song. Okay, and you? You know, this is just a symbolic. You know, it means if there's only text, you only can bring. Don't worry. You can say that I just want to bring a novel. That's fine. The Abhidharma compendium of Abhidharma, compendium to Abhidharma, I think. Just Abhidharma the Sangaha, yeah, the Sir Abhidharma Yilun. Okay, and you? Metta Sutra.
And
No end, just only one. No end.
it's very short. It's only a few lines.
Yeah, Metta Sutra. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Huh? Heart Sutra 3, man.
Same thing.
Heart Sutra 4, 5. Now Heart Sutra going again. Win the Diamond Sutra now. And you? Diamond Sutra 5 also. 5 Diamond Sutra. And what about you?
Same thing. Diamond Sutra.
Diamond Sutra 6 to 5. And Huayan or Avatamsaka Sutra. Okay, called Avatamsaka. Only one. So, and what about you? The path to enlightenment. The path to Oh, Buddhidao是南门玄摩. Okay. Actually, it's not the path. Buddhidao is not the path to enlightenment. Translate, I think, is called the gradual path leading to the bodhisattva. I think. Yeah. So to the Bodhi, maybe Bodhi. Yeah, it can be translated as enlightenment too. So what about you?
Abhidharma Kosa.
I don't know how far.
She graduated. She graduated from this class.
Abhidharma Kosa. Lin Xiuhui.
我不知道选哪一个。
Okay, you haven't answered me.
俱舍论啊，成名论啊。
The great wisdom.
Which one? The Dajatulan or the treatise of great wisdom? Okay. All right. Dajatulan is the treatise of the great wisdom. You don't have the English translation yet. No English translation. I think. No. But you have French translation.
Translated the French into English.
The Greek treatise of.
Yes, all those French translations has been translated into English already.
Dajatulan. I don't know that. Yeah. Okay, good. Right, but I'm sure nobody want to bring up Abhidharmavatara, okay? But at least there's one, Angelina, Abhidharma Kosa, and then lots of still, the Diamond Heart Sutra or Diamond Sutra. Diamond, yeah. Oh, by the way, yes, from the web, what do you want to bring? If that's only one text you will have to take. Little gold. Hello, little gold.
那个谭英啊。
And 马林，如果你要带，你会带哪一部经啊？Oh, okay. Anyone know what is the term in English when you usually say 楞严经？ That's a 楞伽经。Anyone? Yeah, Surangama. Okay, Surangama Sutra. Okay. And another one is silence. Okay, she's maybe in deep meditation now. Okay. So you say, I don't need it, just meditation. Okay. Okay, now I forgot to say that actually I'm going to bring the Mahavipassa. Okay, that's one the code the below one, the Mahavipassa. Okay, that I quote from. Mahavibhasa have 100 chapters. If you want to translate, it might be 20 times or 10 times of the Bible. Maybe. Yeah, maybe more than that. So it's really, and of course it's very, very difficult in the content. Okay, that would be my most favorite. Okay, look at the, just only, like half page of the Mahavibhasa, half page, they defined, okay, according to the Abhidharmikas, mean according to the people who are interested in Abhidharma, who are really good in Abhidharma, called Abhidharmikas. Okay, look at the term, Abhidharmika. Usually in Pali or in Sanskrit, when you say Abhidharma, like Abhidharma, okay, mikas refer to person or quality. That person who has Abhidharma. But especially you want to emphasize it and try to use a quality, you change this word A, short way become a long A. Okay, Abhidharmikas. Okay. So according to the Abhidharmikas, mean the good and Abhidharma, or they are really stand in the position of Abhidharma. According to them, they are called Abhidharma due to or because of what reason? First, because it can properly and absolutely determine the characteristic of all Dharma. Okay, get it now? So, and also second, because it can properly examine and properly penetrate the Dharma. Okay, the penetrate here, the English we use the word penetrate. In Chinese, usually you say 通达, but that definitely to do with when you meditate, you really come to really understand what it is. Because definitely how you come to understand because of the wisdom. We're going to talk this in the future because Abhidharma is very, very clear what you have to do, okay, everything. So that's why it's called Abhidharma, okay, you understand. And also it can directly realize and attaining with regard to all Dharma. So that's why it's called Abhidharma, because every Dharma you can directly realize and can attend to, okay, either the bad or good one, but still is a Dharma, okay. But then later we'll talk about the ultimate meaning actually Abhidharma is only the Nibbana, but then we're going to talk later. But just let you know first. And also number 4, there's so many. He discussed that one by one. He said that number 4, because as I say, it's like an encyclopedia, right? He collect all the saying. Because according to Abhidharmikas, the Abhidharma to them to understand in such a way. Okay, the number 4 way, it can get to the very bottom of the profound nature of Dharma. So that's why that's called Abhidharma. And through it, the wisdom eyes of the Noble One comes to purify it. In other words, mean if you really understand Abhidharma, through this understanding of Abhidharma, study of Abhidharma, but of course study, we will talk also involved in like listening, and reflecting and practice, cultivation, of course. And then you will, then the wisdom eye of the Noble Ones comes to purify. In other words, mean Abhidharmika believe that is through that you can practice and become Nibbana. Okay. And the 6th, it is only through it that the nature of the Dharma, subtle from beginningless time, come to reveal. In other words, mean or some Abhidharmika thing. So because you study Abhidharma, there's some subtleness of the Dharma reveal the fact, reveal to you. Yeah.
Dharma here means both the
everything.
Phenomena and plus the teachings of the Buddha is all together.
Yeah. Because whatever Dharma sometimes can answer as a fact or items, any items. Number 7, this is all actually all in Chinese, been translated in English, right? What it expounds is not contradictory to the nature of Dharma. One who is extremely well versed with regard to a specific and common characteristic in the Abhidharma cannot be folded in any way and made to contradict the nature of the Dharmas. Okay. Now number 8, it can refute and defeat all the heretic views. Okay, when you study that, it's one of the things.
That's quite
Now, then that's actually these are all the general Abhidharmika's thing. That's why what is Abhidharma. But I put the B here because according to one of the very famous Abhidharma, Sarasvati-Vada's Abhidharma master called Vasumitra. Okay. So he believed that it is called Abhidharma because it can always ascertain the nature of Dharma given in the sutra. Understand? So in other words, he's saying actually Abhidhamma is always talk the fact about sutra. Okay. Okay. Which is also you didn't find in the previous number, the 8 view about what is Abhidhamma. Number 10, it can properly understand the nature of traveling condition co-arising. Okay. So I mean Abhidhamma, for you, the Abhidhamma is that you can properly understand the dependent arising. Here I follow my teacher's translation because he translates co-arising. Okay. It makes more sense actually, also co-arising. Number 11, it can directly realize the Dhamma of the Four Noble Truths, and it properly expounds the practice of a Noble Eightfold Path, and it can attain Nirvana. The 14, it repeatedly analyzes the Dhamma from innumerable doctrinal perspectives. In other words, I mean, you could see that Vasumitra have a very interesting, a unique way of saying what is Abhidhamma to understanding. Of course, that relate to the sutra, everything. It's all related to sutra. Even though the sutra have different perspective on that, but he has a collection way of understanding it. I mean, that's included in Abhidhamma. So, okay. So that's why, that's a Vasumitra. And what about the Bhadanta Dhammadrata? Okay, Dhammadrata is very important master. Usually, he was so well respected during belong by this school. So sometimes you don't have to mention his name. That's why I put a bracket. When you say Bhadanta, mean Dada, or the word in Chinese Dada. I know that nowadays they use this word. Actually, in old days we don't normally use this word. Because normally the word Dada refer to your attainment is very high. You must be not a normal person. And also you have to be at least a monk for more than 40 years. At least 40 years.
So related to Bante?
No, Bante is only... Bhadanta normally refer to people who are... No, it's not Jhana. Jhana is another term. No, Jhana is Dada is a term actually refer to people who have ordained at least for 40 years, and he must be very well...
old?
No, old enough. Or he has to be old enough also. In other words, he must be 60 years old, right? Because if you have a high ordination is 20 years old, and then you must have at least 60 years old. And for course, not because you're 60 years, you have to be ordained as a monk, taken a high ordination for 60 years old. Don't be so happy. I know you can be. You don't. So, and also, and important is not because of, there's a problem in nowadays. People think that they like to put anything. No, you don't. Because the word also Bhadanta, normally also refer not because you are old in age age in monkhood. It's also has much to do with because everybody, not just your own people, like outside other school of people respect you. That's called Bhadanta. Okay. You cannot say that, because my student like me, I put myself Dada. That's wrong. You have to be everybody like you and agree with you. That's called Dada. It's a very honored term. So nobody uses it nowadays. But I knew that modern time everybody now make because they like people they think he's Greek. They changed that now. But it's not a Buddhist tradition. Okay. So however we must understand whenever they refer to Dada here, normally if you don't mention the name. Of course, they all are the Bhadanta, but if they don't mention, hello, you have a question? Next time we have a question, ask me, okay? So if you every time you refer to the name Bhadanta, please know that it refers to the Dhammadrata, okay? Fa Jiu in Chinese, Fa Jiu, Dhammadrata, okay? Jiu means the Jiu, Fa Jiu. And then, according to his, what does Abhidhamma mean? He said, by means of the words, phrase, and sentence, it systematically combines, organizes, and analyzes the Dhamma pertaining to the defilements, purification, bondage, liberation, and to the samsaric process and its cessation. That's what is Abhidhamma. Okay? Do you like it?
Does the word dharmas in that sentence refer to lessons or what?
Oh, the word Dharma is referred to the items. For example, maybe I'll give you some example. For example, when we say items like, for example, I said, I have earth element is items, or I think if my mind is clear, it's also an item. When I have a focused mind, it's an item, or when I have a deluded mind or I have anger mind, it's an item also. Or not only that, say that when I sit, for example, And then I feel I have energy, there's also item. That's what we call vidya, right? I have energy, or I have mindfulness, it's also item. And even like, that's why we say like a 7, what is it called, self-purification, say that I 7 factors of enlightenment, 就7觉知 is also items, okay, like that. But not only that, like when I see the Dharma, I feel disgusting. I don't like it. Like I feel I was fooled by the reality, and I feel disgust. On that is also one item. The disgusting is always an item. And then I feel like I no more facing to this thing. My head turned other side. What we call patisaka in other term. And then that's also one item.
So it's sort of giving definitions or describing all these items in detail.
Yes. So that's why the definition of these items are that's why I say pertaining to the defilements also. Not only the good thing, but the defilements, because you have to know what kind of defilements you have, right? Like 5 hindrances is also the Dhamma. Okay, you get it now? Hello? Yeah.
So what's the Chinese word for that word?
Fa. There's a fa. Fa. But sometimes we want to speak Chinese or in a little bit more like a tenderness when they write, they might be put one more like fa su. Sometimes they also mix the word using like fa xiang too, you know.
It's easier to use Chinese word.
But in general, just fa. Or if you want to just specify it's a plural form, you say 诸法, you know. Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't know which one you prefer, but you know, to remember one of the two or definition. Because when you study Abhidharma, people might ask you, what is Abhidharma? So you can just give one, you know.
Which one, the Tibetan or the Burmese or?
No, actually, I think he collect everything. You know, they have 24 for you for your selection. You're not satisfied yet? Okay. Okay. And according to because actually the more you learn, you also find why they want to say that they have come from a different, different sources or bases, you know, to say that. But anyway, now another was saying is by the Parsva. All these are very famous Sarvastivada master, okay? 就是邪尊者 Parsva. Parsva say, well, it is called Abhidharma because it is the ultimate abandoning absolute and non-erroneous prajna, mean the wisdom, okay? Yeah, because it all relate to the wisdom. That's why it called basically, but of course the wisdom is ultimate and abandoning. You know, to gain wisdom is not to gain what? People have a misunderstanding. I want to gain this. I have the wisdom, actually you abandon something, and then that's how you come to understand something. Okay? So here, it's so that's why it's no non-errorless, no error at all. So that's called the wisdom. So, okay, that's why people ask you, what is Abhidharma? The Abhidharma is, next class I'm going to ask you, okay? Don't worry.
So that's what Prajna Paramita, is that it from there? In Mahayana school?
No, yeah, they might be, that's how they start, that's true, that's how they come to understand that way. Yeah. So according to the Bhadanda Kosaka, he is also one of the another famous one. I think this is much, basically mean, because it's called Abhidharma because it can properly analyze to a seeker of liberation, engage in the proper practice. Okay. In other words, mean the Abhidharma actually is all about the analyze and those who are interested in seeking liberation. Okay. So
that's for me.
So what he does not understood. Okay. For example, like what the Noble Eightfold Path. I don't have to mention it now. So really, he say. Okay. Now what about the other school? Dharmaguptaka say, you know, other school. It's not Sarvastivada school now. It's another school now. He also collected another school. As I just mentioned, Mahavibhasa like a huge encyclopedia, right? He said that because this Dharma, why it's called Abhidharma? Because this Dharma is prominent. Like the verses say, wisdom is the most honorable one in the world and can ascertain one's rebirth. Because of through this right understanding, old age and death ceases to end us. So in other words, it's very interesting. Actually, this Dhammadipa way of saying is very similar to Pali. Okay, kind of close to Pali way of understand Abhidhamma. What it mean by what does it mean by Abhidhamma? Okay, it's like a prominent, very important, like a prominent. Okay, then according to the Mahisasaka say, wisdom can illuminate the Dharma just like the sutra say, all the brightness I set, the light of the wisdom is a superior. Okay, but according to the Drastandika, what does mean Drastandika? Anyone know? If anyone knows this, I will be really surprised, but I still have to ask for the politeness. What is Drastandika? Anyone? Come on, anyone? Guess?
Yes.
Now we know that, okay, let me give you the first one. We know that there's a school called Dhammadipa, and then you have the school called Mahisasaka. And then there's a school called Sarvastivada, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to study the Sarvastivada. But then there's another school called Drastandika. But what is Drastandika? Come on, anyone? I did say that long ago. If anyone know this answer, I'll give you a prize.
Enlightenment, awakening.
精炼。
What is Drastandika?
Do they use the simile to present the Dharma?
Oh, you get the prize. Because the word's very clear, right?
No, it's
Chinese. It's wrong Chinese. What is the Chinese? It's fascinating.
Okay, that's true. But further, what is the Drastandika besides they use a simile to present the Dharma and what they do? Anyway, someone here like Abhidhamma, Dhammadipa? Who? Raise your hand, you and anyone? Just only you take the Dhammadipa, two of you? Wow, that's why you sit next to each other, okay? If you like Dhammadipa, you should know Drastandika. Even though in Pali this is not mentioned, but in Chinese actually, when I say in Chinese, mean in language or Chinese sources. So Drastandika is the one
Everything's created by mind?
No.
Things like
Drastandika actually is the one always like to talk about story and verses and teach meditation.
So how do you spell it?
No, that's the word. You look at it, H1, H.
So it's kind of stories.
No, Jataka. No, he's not Jataka. It's more Dhammadipa. Dhammadipa is different from Jataka, right? No.
But
No.
how's that different from in Lotus Sutra they use a lot of simile to,
Well, of course, they're very earlier group.
Well,
They are
collection.
not the Mahayana group, but they are the group. Of course, belong to the Shravakayana. They are not a Mahayana group, and they are according to they are very famous because they always also you are partly right. They are also actually mostly do not like Abhidhamma, but they only prefer the sutra. It's very much like Shranka basically. Because like Shranka, they have a kind of interesting the pattern they use in tradition. When they give a talk, either the monk or what, they usually want to compose a verse, compose a gada, ji song. They will compose a ji song. Of course, someday they get it from the sutra, but even that's how the Dhammapada came. Because of course, it's believed that Buddha sometimes do that too. So usually Buddha do that is not to start with, but the Buddha do that when it conclude everything, and the Buddha after preaching, sometimes the Buddha conclude everything in a verse. Okay, but then the Drastandika, like in Shranka tradition also, usually they give a talk first. They have to recite the verse first, and then they start to explain what is the verse, and then that's the main theme of what they're going to talk. So and then they will start to talk about the topic. So, and they are the Drastandika, and they were very powerful group, but then they disappear also later on, like no more. They don't write book mostly, they like to talk story to every kind of level of people. And I mean, when I say story, I mean not Jataka, like, that relate to the practice, but they like to only say story and they teach you meditate, and that's what they do. That's called Drastandika. Yeah, a very, very actually efficient way, So if you understand that, then you know why they also included him because, and this school is also one of the school always disagree some opinion about Abhidhamma. also. Okay, but anyway, look at it, what he say. He say what is the Dharastandika mean? It is next to the Nirvana, the supreme among all Dharma. So that's why it's called Abhidharma. Okay, I think I need to jump some other thing. The other one is according to grammarian. You know, grammar is very important. Almost like nowadays the people, and they have a different definition. Okay, I think maybe let's look at the K. Can you look at page 5? Okay. The page 5 say, you know, like number 22nd is more complicated. They say the prefix abi means face to face, and the Dharma can be induced, or the skillful Dharma, the body Bhaksha Dharma, for example, to appear face to face. Okay, so that's why called Abhidharma, because you can bring the Dharma to you directly. Okay, that's called Abhidharma. Like the enlightenment factors of enlightenment, like 37 factors of enlightenment, so they can bring them affair to you. That's why it's called Abhidharma. Okay? That's why the word Abhi is there, because you can directly encounter with it. That's directly from the Buddha Balidas, that one of the masters or on those days said that. But then some other mean, you know, like a Pali way, the prefix Abhi also mean predominant, just like a predominant proud, renders as abhimana, or like a, anyway, that's my translation. I think there's something we need to look at it. Generally mean, you know, abhi is mean, you know, you add something on, okay? It becomes like prominent of what, you know, like I'm proud. So I'm proud, that's called abhimana, for example. You know. So I mean, so it doesn't give very good translation, I think. I would not prefer this, I myself. So it's true, sometimes the language use this way, but you know, like me, because I like to think Abhidharma more like a practical way. So I might prefer the J, that means number 22, and some other, you know, definition. The way to explain to people, at least. So the last one, the Abhi means the prefix Abhi denotes a veneration, and this Dharma is honorable and venerable, hence is called Abhidharma. Okay, like another one called Vamalabda say, you know, because Abhi actually is mean you respect something, that's why you put the prefix Abhi. So the Abhidharma means you respect the Dharma. So that's why I call Abhidharma. You know, so okay, now you know. Next time if people tell you what is Abhidharma, they have so different, so many definitions. You just smile, okay? And then that's why sometimes, you know, the more you learn Dharma, you also learn like a Zen master. He say you're right. He say you're right too. You're also right. Everybody right. Of course, we understand. Actually, Abhidharma do not allow this kind of thing somehow. But anyway, but you see, they have so many thinking about Abhidharma. I should let you have 5 minutes break, and then while we study Abhidharma, we should talk about something about that, and what is the relation to Tripitaka, and we should end today's class. To next class, we definitely have to go to the text. Okay, right? Have a break. Yeah, 5 minutes. Go, run. Right, thank you. Okay, anyway, I think Angelina and I is going to pass out a paper. Who need a book, just write down your name. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, before I forget to mention, I guess first, just what you have now. Okay, firstly, you have a book, okay? And the book here, the textbook, it's translate. Actually, not translate, I would say. Sorry, written by我的师父啊，应该这么说 in Chinese. It's clear. My master, called Dhammajoti. But usually people look at the Dhammajoti thought it's my mom brothers. No, in a certain tradition, you know, if he my teacher, I must have the name, one name connected to him, right?
He's Chinese?
He's a Chinese, and he also read many languages too.
In Sri Lanka too? Or?
Yeah, but actually I think he was first also ordained as a Chinese, but then not very long, then he ordained as in Sri Lanka. Yeah. And so that's why his name is called Dhammajoti, called Fa Guan, and my name is called Dhammadipa, called Fa Yao. Okay, but in Chinese tradition, you would think that we are mom brothers, but no. But in the other traditions, it means we are the students, you know, because we have a share the same word. Okay, but it's different from a Chinese.
Dhammajoti means what?
Light.
Oh, light.
Okay, so The text actually, I'm also, if I think for those that register in the email list, you have the text, original text, you know. So, but the good thing of the book, of course, you can see some introduction there. But I'm not going to basically read the introduction that much because I'm going to, remember I just mentioned I'm going to almost like try to write something more about Abhidharma. So I will try to use information to give, you know, to teach. Because I usually feel very bored if I want to read, just to read the book, you know. And you have a question? Yeah. Yeah, just pass out the paper, I guess. That will be easier, right? For those if we want the book, yeah. Okay. And I want to say that also I did, Angelina also sent you a note, right? But that will be in Chinese.
Also English.
No, I know that I say the Chinese first. There's one note, one note in Chinese, because for those who really like compare, and you can see the notes. But don't think this is very simple, because actually we also took time to, you know, like to rearrange the paragraph again. And then in the Chinese notes, you see that Lu Abhidharma Lun, and then I did write the purpose of these treatises. The purpose of the treatise, and then number one, the category of matter, and so on. I will follow what the English translation, so you can easily find. And then the number there, number 1, number 1.1, number 1.2, number 1.3. Okay, but if you do find that there's some mistake, I think please write to me also. Okay, because I did in anyway. There's so busy, so it could be, you know, whatever you do, it might have a mistake. But I don't think that. So I only did it so far until chapter 3, okay? So that's why you can see the last page is 3.2, and then the next one will 4. No, actually they're furthermore, chapter 3, because they're so complicated. It's in the Chinese origin text, it's the whole thing together, you know. You have to read, you know, you put it down, and you type the number. So, but we'll send it to you soon if we finish it. And the English translation, actually, they're exactly the same up here, okay? I don't think I did you know, sometimes when you always read something again, you might not agree the terminology, but I may change it. But I don't think I did change it from there, but it's okay. But I just want to let you know the English translation, you have the text, not the translation, the text in English, sorry. So that is actually exactly from here, okay? Just retype it only, okay? Right. But the book is, good thing of the book is because you can find the notes. The footnotes, okay? They call here is endnotes. They have the endnotes here, so you can read some notes if you like to. But as I say, if you just study the Abhidharma like that, you will feel very bored. Okay, I hope that don't try to give up very soon. Okay, if you want to give up, at least you'll finish the half book. I mean, when you attend the class up to the half of it, and you think that that's too much. Okay. All right, we have very limited time, only 10 minutes, but I like to cover something, and this is how I usually do. First, we have covered everything a little bit, and the next week, if you have questions, especially you still don't understand when you go back to read it, you always can write, you know, to us, show your question. But please remember, if you have some passage you don't understand, or when you write, it's good to write us the page number. Okay, don't let us to fight that again. Okay. But anyway, try to do that. Yeah. And of course, if you have questions, we maybe come to discuss. Then I realize actually people are interested in a certain part, and also because you might have difficulty on a certain thing, then you know I can explain again. Okay, let's look at the page 6 because I need to finish this one. Okay.
Page 6 what?
On the same, the living Yogacara. You know.
Oh, okay.
Now we know why it is called Abhidharma already. According to different schools, different people, different Abhidharmikas, different Greek masters, right? And then we look at the one of the authentic. When I say authentic, mean the most popular one that whenever people study Abhidharma, okay? So I mean, for those who know the Sanskrit, I would prefer you look at Sanskrit. And why I want that's certainly it's a big challenge. I want to say because if you read the Sanskrit, the meaning is very clear to you. But now also you also see on the page 6 you find I write AKB. Can you write it? See the Chinese AKB ZH. You know, We pronounce it ZH.
BX.
No, the Chinese word Abhidhamma, you don't know Chinese, but you can see there's a Chinese, right? In front of the Chinese, there's a AKBGH, right?
Yeah, oh, I see, okay. Yeah.
And then there's another AKBX, right? So, but I just want to let you know, but I'm going to give you that also future. But just to let you know when there's a different, because one is a translation from Zhendi, okay? Zhendi, which translate in the 5th century, 400 something, okay? And then one is translate X means 旋转, or that's translated by the 旋转法师, okay? Okay. Oh, you don't know Zhendi? It's okay. Next time you ask me, you say what Zhendi? Hello, because I forgot how to say it in Sanskrit. This word. I mean his name. Anyone? I forgot his name in Sanskrit. But if that come to my mind, I would let you know. One is from 旋转, okay? You know the 旋转. I don't have to write. But it's okay. Just two translations. If you don't know Chinese, you just know there are two translate. His one, the earlier one translate. The GH one translate 400 something, mean 5th century. And then 旋转 translate 7th century. Okay. The X one, you know, like ABK. That means Abhidhamma Kosa X mean by 旋转 translate 7th century. Okay. AD, of course. Okay. All right. But for those who know Chinese, they can compare and read in the English translation too. But we are going to read the English translation only. Okay. So why this name Abhidhamma? You can see the part there. So Abhidhamma is understand, wisdom, and is following. Here, so he's going to trying to define again what mean by the wisdom. Wisdom is analysis of Dhamma. Hello? That's very important. According to Abhidhamma, and especially in this, I say, what is wisdom? Wisdom is mean you have to be you analyze the Dhamma. Okay? And that's why if it's a Chinese word, it's 哲法. Okay. Yeah, your 哲法. You can see the notes there, like there's a word. 哲法. Okay. So it's analysis of the Dhamma is called wisdom. And what does it mean by understand? Understand means unsullied. Okay. So, and you're pure. With this following, what does it mean? It means its retinue, which are the unsullied 5 aggregates, and this is what is called Abhidhamma. So far, this is the ultimate sense of Abhidhamma. So when you talk Abhidhamma in the ultimate sense, it's what? Anyone? Hello? No one? No? That's only explaining what is meant by that. Hello? You don't get it now? Now, we're back to the school time, okay? Now, what is meant by the ultimate sense of Abhidhamma? It means Abhidhamma is understand wisdom and is following. Understand? No?
Well, of course not.
You don't understand it?
Well, I understand it in the sense of Zen sense.
没有污染。
The dharmas are pure in their essence. Am I going too far?
You might be going too far, but actually it's also one of the definitions of what does Abhidhamma mean.
That's what this sounds like to me.
It is. You're not going too far. Actually, there's one definition when you look at before what is Abhidhamma means. It did have say that Abhidhamma is also always referred to the emptiness, and that's also it means by Abhidhamma. So yeah, but then so that is ultimate sense. Here they say very clear when you talk about Abhidhamma in terms of ultimate sense. So it defined as it's an understand wisdom with the following. But what does it mean by with the following?
Yes.
No, it mentioned there. The with the following means it retinue which are the 5 aggregates, and that this is what it called Abhidhamma. Yeah, basically mean that so if the following means because you have to understand wisdom. So and then you would not have any grasping aggregate. So you have complete pure aggregate. So that's mean by the Abhidharma. Okay. So it's a very actually it's also a way to tell you, is it true or not? Anyway, when you the more you learn, you start to understand whether it's like that. But firstly, understand when you study Abhidharma, that's very important kind of understanding. Also, one of the most famous Abhidharma Kosa texts written by the Vasubandhu say that when you say Abhidharma, it means there's a untainted wisdom and what? Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Wow, that's very good. Okay. Right. So that's remember that. Okay. What about look at it another page on page 7. But if it is on the conventional destination or conventional idea, 就是世俗地, okay, that is actually mean 真实 or even 真义地的说法 mean the ultimate truth. But now if you talk about the conventional destination, okay, the 世俗地, so what does it mean? With regard to something, in order to obtain it, that is such a teachings, okay. So in others mean, if you look at what is meant by the Abhidharma in the conventional destination, so you can obtain the Dharma, okay. Anyway, you can obtain the Dharma. I think this is a translation from the Sanskrit. It means that if you can obtain the Dharma, in order to obtain it, so then there's a teachings. So that means the Abhidharma. Means there's a teachings that will help you to obtain the Dharma. So, okay. All right, I think this is a little bit difficult. You go back and read, not difficult, a little bit too much at the moment. Look at the page 7, okay. Actually, the page 7, I think maybe we don't have time to cover it. Maybe I'll cover it next time. We will talk about the page 7 next time, but I'd like to say something about those who read Chinese, because I don't have time to translate, really, it's a huge job. Another paper called Several Concerns about Abhidharma mentioned in Mahavipassa Sastra. Anyone? But we only pass this to people who know Chinese, because we don't have the English translation. Anyone have that? I said that already. The title is called Several Concerns about Abhidharma mentioned in Mahavipassa Sastra. Okay. For those who don't know that, we just only talk about meaning. Actually here, we want to, before we end the class today, we must know, according to this Mahavipassa, which I think is the most powerful text, like an encyclopedia say, he's trying to prove that, not trying to prove that. They must, hello? Any question again? I'm sorry if we don't have, because might be, how many, we only print 15.
Oh, okay.
So, so you have that one? Okay, it's all right. It's okay. I should not mention about Chinese then. Just look at me then, everyone. Otherwise, you look for the paper. So they must also put their position first. According to this Abhidharma Mahavipassa, the Mahavipassa. Remember Mahavipassa? I said the text I'm going to bring, okay. The biggest one actually. If you translate it into English, maybe more than 20 times or Visuddhimagga, the power of purification, maybe 20 times. I think even more than that. No, I don't think even more than 20, even more than that. So very huge. So you spend your whole life to read that. That's why I say you won't feel bored if you bring that text, And there are lots of teachings, meditation, everything is very, very detailed discussed there. So, okay, and then they say that Abhidharma was taught by the Buddha. That's what he want to say. Because also afterward it been combined by his main masters. His main disciples, okay? That means the masters. And then also you misunderstand, because since the Buddha teachings and his disciple teachings are not against the reality of the Buddha teachings. And actually you must understand too, so that's also the second reason why they say it's a Buddha teaching belong to. It's also because actually the bhikkhu, the Buddha allowed the bhikkhu to observe this thing. And then those monks later on has delivered these teachings to everybody. That's why the Abhidharma should be understood as the Buddha's teachings. Okay? Getting now, the first reason he says why you should take it as this should be a Buddhist teachings, because actually the content of Abhidharma originally is taught by the Buddha. Even though it's agreed that the Abhidharma was a collection, right, by the sutra, but it was taught by the Buddha. And then it's also combined by, basically mean what the Buddha said actually is combined by whom? Not the Buddha, right? It's combined by his disciples. So that you have to understand Abhidharma is combined by the disciples, so that should be regarded as the Buddha's teachings. Okay? And the second I just mentioned is that because whatever the content of it doesn't against the nature of the Dharma, so that's why it should be understood as the Buddha teaching. Especially the Buddha allow the disciple to deliver the teachings. Okay. And then also the third reason is that because with the wisdom and then to understanding of what they should do, and then that's why the disciples have combined the text, in order to make the Dharma stay better and stay stronger. You know, that's what we call they have the right Dharma. That's why Abhidharma should be understood. Abhidharma was composed because of that reasons. So that's why you have to understand the Abhidharma as the Buddha's teachings. Okay, that's actually this text trying to put the position to tell you that you should not regard Abhidharma as not the Buddha's teaching because of few reasons, of those reasons. And the interesting part to me is then you can understand if they have put this argument at that time because this text was composed in 1st century. Okay, this treatise, this Mahavipassa, was composed in the 1st century. Well, when the Abhidharma came, it's for sure after the Buddha passed away 300 years, we have Abhidharma already. That's for sure. Might be even earlier, but it's definitely sure after the Buddha passed away 300 years, there are Abhidharma. Okay, but as I say, it might be earlier. We don't know yet. So, but this text being composed, this treatise composed after the Buddha passed away about 600 years. Okay, and then he started to refute and put the position about to prove the Abhidharma. In order to prove the Abhidharma is the teachings of the Buddha. That shows that they might have a lot of people have questioned even those days about the authenticity of the Abhidharma. Okay. Now we don't have much time now. Maybe the next one I'm going to explain something else further. How we understand. Anyway, several issues about how we understand why these disciples of the Buddha wanted to compose Abhidharma. But this kind of understanding is interesting because you don't find in Pali. Okay? Because in Pali tradition, that means Theravada tradition, from the very earlier time, the commentary in Pali tradition, we don't know earlier time in Pali tradition, but we know at least after the Buddhaghosa, after the Pali tradition, from the very early time said, actually Abhidharma was taught by the Buddha. Why? Because the Buddha went to the heavens, right, to give the preaching to his mom, the one who gave birth to him, and then he passed away when he was 7 years old. 7 days after he was given birth, right? Then the mom reborn to Siddha heaven, right? So, and the Buddha want to thank his mom. So the Buddha, because everybody know the story, there was a time Buddha disappeared. Okay, according to Buddhist tradition, Buddha is very powerful. So he can, when he was given the teaching here, he can transform another body to other place. That's no problem. But to disappear the physical body is really rare. Okay, but there was a time the Buddha disappeared the physical body, and not only that. So those arahants, those are powerful monks of his disciples, using his supernatural power also, knew that the Buddha disappeared not because of somebody kidnapped. Okay. nobody like love this. Okay, so generally, I mean, it's because actually he disappeared because of with his own will, with his own supernatural power. So they see that actually Buddha, with the physical body, that's actually that means it's very very hard. Okay, he could fly, kind of like a fly, or appear in the Tusita heaven. So of course, and then it's a very popular in Pali stories also. Actually, even in Chinese, they do have knew that the Buddha once disappeared, but they have a different story about that. And then also, then after that, since his physical disappeared from the earth, and he also appeared on a certain place on the earth, you know. Nowadays in India, if you go to India and go for this pilgrimage place, and they do have found where the Buddha landed also, you know, like airplane, he landed down, okay, and he disappeared in somewhere like a shuttle, what do you call, space shuttle, space shuttle, and then just disappear, okay, and then he landed down. So they have a preview memory there too. Okay? It's a very popular story. But according to Pali, when he disappeared, he gave the Abhidharma teaching to him, to the mother, to his mother. So, and then when he came down, it was Sariputra who, he told what he talked to his mother. So it was the teaching of Abhidharma. So that's how the Pali understand. But you know, definitely there's no such a kind of record in this school, Sarvastivada school. So that's why in this Sarvastivada school, the way they want to explain or defend their position, how important Abhidharma is, and the rest of it will be all about why this disciple of the Buddha, they want to do that. Okay, then we're going to talk in the next week. Okay. All right. The last thing. So time quick. You don't have to read the book at the moment, don't worry, but please bring the book back, okay? And you so far, few things you need to remember one definition of what is Abhidharma, okay? The one you like. I'm going to ask you any one of you, okay? But you're allowed to read the paper, but you don't tell me that, where is it, where, huh? Don't do that. At least you immediately can tell me, oh, okay, this one, I like it, okay? And then also there are few terms remember the term that is Sarvastivada, Vinaya canon, you know, the canons, you know, the three baskets, and all these simple terms, remember that. Otherwise, you will be in confusion in future. So remember few terms, that's your job today. Okay, right. All right, thank you so much. We do the transfer marriage. So, and the other Lima, the online one, they're going to send you the text later, okay?
愿此上课功德会享我等以众生共成于佛道。
萨埵萨埵。
One more to the teacher.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Also, don't disappear just like a Buddha.